Welcome to today's Explainer. We've got a massive topic lined up that so many of you have been asking for. We are diving deep into Bahria town Karachi's highly debated Ali block. Whether you're an overseas investor trying to make sense of the market data, or you're just looking for a new place to call home, we're going to break down the whole shebang, from the glossy marketing brochures right down to the actual on-the-ground realities.
Here is a quick look at our roadmap. We'll start with a welcome to Precinct 12, crunch the real cost of building, look at the daily resident experience, dive into market insights, and finally, navigate the investment risks. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Welcome to Precinct 12, the landscape and location. Before we talk about money or lifestyle, we really need to get our bearings and see exactly where we are on the map.
So Ali Block, which is officially known as Precinct 12, is strategically positioned just a 5-minute drive or about 10 kilometers from the main gate of Bahria town. Now, for a mega development of this scale, that proximity is an absolutely massive selling point. It basically means you get to enjoy the depth of the community without having to deal with a super long commute just to reach the main highway.
It also fronts the incredible 400-foot-wide main Jinnah Avenue. You drive past the great Jamia Mosque and boom, you run right into it. The area is heavily promoted for being super close to major entertainment hubs, things like the Dancing Fountain, Dan Zoo, and the Golf and Cricket Stadium. It's a fully gated community, complete with security cameras, parks, and all your basic utilities. Plus, it actually sits at a higher altitude, which naturally prevents a lot of those pesky drainage issues. Honestly, it's no wonder there are already over 2,000 occupied houses here.
Moving on to Section 2, the cost of building. Crunching the numbers. So say you love the location. What does it actually take to get your dream home built here?
The market here is basically split between 125 and 250 square yard villas. If you're building on a 125 square yard plot, Bahria town bylaws allow you a covered area of 1,850 square feet, which is perfect for a nice 3 to 4 bedroom setup. That construction is going to run you anywhere from 80 to 120 lakh, just depending on your material quality. Now, on the flip side, the 250 square yard plots are actually 272 square yards on file, and that lets you build a massive 3,600 square feet of covered area. The cost there jumps significantly, sitting between 135 and 250 lakh. And definitely keep in mind, for those larger plots, you've got to factor in roughly another 10 lakh in extra fees for things like drawing approvals, utility possession, and transfers.
Now, managing a construction project like that might sound like an absolute nightmare, especially for overseas buyers. But local builders have completely adapted to this. They're offering these great remote construction benefits that just take the hassle out of all that Bahria town documentation. They'll actually jump on video chats to show you progress, they offer flexible installment plans, and they even guarantee the material quality in writing. It's basically a totally turnkey solution designed specifically to attract capital from outside Karachi.
All right, Section 3. The real resident experience, beyond the brochure. Numbers and maps are great and all, but what does it actually feel like to wake up in Ali Block today?
Well, there's a distinct gap between the marketing promises and the reality for residents. The brochures promise this fully commercialized, ultra-secure, state-of-the-art utopia, but residents living there right now paint a slightly more pragmatic picture. Many are relying on solar panels just to ensure consistent power, they're still waiting for local commercial spaces to actually open their doors, and some are even pooling money to hire private guards.
But hey, it is absolutely not all compromises. Just listen to this direct quote from a current resident talking about their morning routine. They said, "Because Bahria has a mountainous system, walking and running up and down the hills here is great for your health. There is no fear of walking outside." That foundational promise of a clean, secure, and healthy lifestyle, that is very real, and it's highly valued by the people who call it home.
Still, daily life does require some practical adjustments. Because that local commercial space isn't operational yet, residents actually have to travel over to the main PSO pump or to Precinct 10 just for everyday groceries like milk and bread. The local mosque is still under construction too, so Friday prayers also mean taking a trip to Precinct 10. And on the security front, while violent crime really isn't a fear, petty theft, like people stealing outdoor water taps, does happen. That's why you see residents hiring private chowkidars or guards. Finally, because the block has such high occupancy, you'll definitely have neighbors around, though it's worth noting some folks have complained about buying pre-built villas that ended up having pretty low-quality construction.
Section 4. Market Insights and Valuations. The data. Let's pivot from lifestyle and get into the hard economics. What is the actual market data telling us about property values here?
So, Ali Block is currently the volume leader when it comes to trading, but it really operates as a two-tier market. Your standard or general plots, they're trading right around the 31 lakh mark. However, if you're looking at premium category plots, the ones that are perfectly leveled and on ground, those can go all the way up to 65 lakh. And because Ali Block is getting more expensive, we're actually seeing budget buyers being pushed further out to places like precincts 27 and 31, where entry-level plots are trading closer to 27 lakh.
90 lakh. That is a massive number. Because of the incredible inflation we've seen in the cost of steel and cement lately, 90 lakh represents the pure structural cost of building a standard villa today.
And that brings us to a really fascinating market inefficiency. Analysts are calling this the replacement cost aha moment. Right now, because of that 90 lakh structure cost, it often costs significantly more to buy a plot and build a brand new house yourself than it does to simply buy an older, already constructed Bahria home in an earlier precinct. The market is basically pricing older constructed villas below their true replacement cost. For anyone looking to invest capital right now, that is an absolutely crucial takeaway.
So, we've seen the geography, we understand the building costs, and we know the data points to some really unique buying opportunities. But you might be wondering, is pouring your money into these mega developments completely risk-free?
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Navigating Investment Risks. It's vital we take an objective look at the macro-level factors at play here. First up is what's known as the gray structure risk. If you look at projects like Bahria Heights, you'll notice a massive variance in prices. An apartment in an incomplete gray structure tower might list for 40 lakh, while a finished one lists for 1.10 crore. That 70 lakh gap, that represents pure completion uncertainty. If construction gets delayed, your capital just gets trapped. It is very much a high-risk, high-reward scenario that needs careful consideration.
Furthermore, investors really need to weigh the macro-regulatory environment. Recently, the National Accountability Bureau, or NAB, froze Bahria town properties and land across the Karachi and Jamshoro districts. As objective observers of the market, this is just a critical data point we have to look at. Regardless of the politics involved, sweeping regulatory actions create legal complexities and directly impact market liquidity. It's a reality that any prospective buyer has to factor into their overall risk assessment.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. How do you, as a prospective buyer, balance that undeniable lifestyle appeal, the real health benefits, and the high volume of market trading against sweeping regulatory actions, construction delays, and the day-to-day realities on the ground? Well, there's no simple answer. But by stripping away the marketing hype and looking directly at the data and resident experiences, you're now equipped to make a truly informed decision. Thanks so much for joining me on today's Explainer, and as always, keep learning.